Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to Visage, or Visage, or however you want to say it. Previously, we finished Raken's chapter, where we learned that he was diagnosed with scopophobia and feared that he was being watched by an organization of eyeless humanoids trying to subjugate him. He lived a minimalistic lifestyle, making it difficult to be monitored, and he was eventually hospitalized and sedated into feigned submission. Eventually, Raken found an underground observation room, seemingly confirming his suspicions, where he was locked away and left for dead by faceless men in black, or a faceless man in black at least. Now that we are finished with the 3 item-linked chapters, we are going to get started on the VHS tapes, which centralize more around our player character, Dwayne Anderson. Okay, so most of what we're going to be doing requires us to be in this room. As I said, we're going to be playing with the VHS tapes, and I'm going to pop in the first one just so the TV doesn't start spamming out on me. Okay, and we'll watch that in a second. What I actually want to do first is kind of search through these. So there's a bunch of photographs around the house, but there's a couple of pieces of information on these because I believe, for whatever reason, maybe Dwayne was reminiscing about the past, or some of them were a bit newer and just hadn't been framed yet. But they have some information on them that could be kind of useful. So let's just kind of search through them, and I'll kind of give you the breakdown of why I think they're important. So right here, John and Dad, 1976, and that's the important part. The dates here kind of tell us a bit of a story. So I think that's supposed to be us. I don't know how they devised this little story in here, but I think it's kind of cool that they use real photographs. So Dad would be us, Dwayne, and John is the son. Come on. Leave me alone. Okay, I'm assuming John again. So we know Dwayne doesn't have a second son. 1979, looks a bit older, so I think John's name is John Michael. So if I say John Michael, that's who I'm referring to. Let's see. Michael and Santa. What was the date on that one? No date. Okay, family get together, it looks like. Looks like Dwayne in the front left, and I don't know, is that Claire in the back right, maybe? Claire's parents' dinner, July 1976. Okay. Stop it. I don't know why I have the lighter on me. Oh, that's why. I'm filled with supplies. Okay, so don't want to miss that one. This one's kind of misleading, and I think it's supposed to be around the time he was born, but 1972 and John kind of written weirdly backwards. But that's how I deciphered that. And I think that's Claire, the wife. Christmas, 1975. Not sure if she's pregnant here or not quite yet. Dwayne and Sarah. So that's the daughter. June 2nd, 1977. We did that one. Okay. Sarah's cute pose. The year is scratched out. And should be a couple more here. Acapulco Hotel with Claire. I'm assuming this is a bit older. I think that's Dwayne with his father, and of course John. 3 generations together, yeah. Makes me wonder if the parents are still alive or not. Okay, I think that's all the pictures here. And unless there's something I've missed in the past, but one more thing. There are pictures throughout the house, like I said, so you can go find more of them and kind of piece together who is who in a way. And some of these are just repeats, but so I'm guessing some of this was Dwayne kind of reminiscing. There's some down here as well. Mustache. He didn't have a mustache before, so this must be going back a ways. Those hairstyles, I'm telling you. That doesn't look quite like Dwayne. That's his father, probably. Or maybe her father. I have to go look at that picture of the family together. Okay, so there's one other bit of information that's kind of important. So Sarah's height and goes from 83 to 85. So it kind of gives us a timeline on some of the events here. And there's probably more photos around places where I'm not really thinking. So like you can see some here. Probably some information hidden in there. Plus these. Some of them, of course, are the same. So why that's important is because we know that Dwayne had a family because of the murder-suicide. And so that kind of pieces together a few bits of information for us. For starters, his wife's name was Claire. We know that from the photos. He had a son named John Michael and a daughter named Sarah. So we got that bit of information. My estimation based on the photos, and I could be a little bit off on this, is that John was born in 72 and died in 85 in the murder-suicide at 13 years old. Sarah was born in 77 or around there. Of course, died in 85 because of the murder-suicide, and she would have been about 8 years old. And because everything's kind of ended in 85, my assumption from the photos is that the murder-suicide occurred in 1985. So that sets us to the VHS tapes. The reason I wanted to note that stuff, the reason that stuff is really important is because, like I said, it kind of gives us a bit of a timeline as to when things were happening. And, it's not the full picture yet, but it does help piece together some events. Now, the VHS tapes, this one just restarted. So this is the first one called Addiction. And I think the title on the tape said Claire playing with Sarah. So you can see that in the video. And basically what you want to do with these is watch the video footage. If it doesn't spawn, try rewatching it. I know some people have said watch it a couple times full through. And you're going to get stuff like this, screenshots like this in the middle of it. So you have this old-timey footage and what I would say is a hint as to where you're going in the house and a hint as to where you're going to end up in most cases. And this one, if I recall, I think this one is a pretty straightforward one, but I'm going to wait till it replays again. So that's the image of where we're going. The little area with the phonograph. And if you let it play back to the start, usually they show you the hint first, the location second. So here we're starting to get the hint. There's a door, and I think there should be a hole in the ground. Yeah, that's the bedroom, master bedroom right there. And there's the hole. So from there it shows us the place that the hole leads to. So we want to head up to the master bedroom. That was our hint. And hope that our friend here leaves us alone. Yeah, so the bed is gone. with light bulb. Oh, it's burnt out. I didn't know that. Too bad I don't have one. Okay, so we got a bed filled with beer cans and some of that black sludge. And that's where I thought it was a phonograph. Maybe it's just a radio.
Why, hello there, chap. I've been waiting for you for quite some time now. You're my friend, aren't you? Care to share a drink with me? What a look you have! Are you tired somehow? I getcha. It's hard to rest in this place, isn't it? Yes, I know. I've been here for quite some time, you know, and I'm glad you came along. But hey, we're here to talk about you, right? Never mind my foolish burdens and talk to me. So you feel confused, don't you? I understand. Everything has been really blurry since you woke up, hasn't it? Do you even know your own name, old friend? Dwayne, of course. There's no mystery here, but I can see that you are wondering if this is real after all. I can assure you, although this might not reassure you, that it is very real. In fact, one might say that this is the first time you're facing reality. No, don't look at me like that. I'm on your side, Dwayne. We've been friends for so long, after all. Who am I? You've always been like this, haven't you? Always asking the wrong questions. Dwayne, listen to me here. The real question isn't who am I, but who are you? Dwayne? But that is nothing but a name, my friend. I'm not asking about a name, I'm asking about who you are. Now, Dwayne, shush a little bit and take a sip. Remember, you and me, we go a long way. I'm on your side. Why don't we take a little sip to our friendship?
This might be the first time you're facing reality, he says.
Cheers.
If you want me to help you, I've got to know something. Are you a fucking murderer? No? Well, what could be the reason behind all that drinking and drugging, then? What's up with you? Oh. You've been seeing things, you say? Things, Things like that? Don't you worry, my friend. Just take a sip, and everything's gonna be back to normal. Go ahead. Drink a little of this wonderful poison. It'll do you real good. I would advise you to take that drink now, my friend.
He's pretty insistent.
Cheers.
See? Ain't that sweet? You know you can always rely on this to get you back on track, don't you?
I still hear them.
Yeah. You remember the coarse taste that burns and slides down your throat, ominously bringing relief in the dulling of your senses? Come on, take another sip. You know you want it.
So I was asking when we were in the bathroom in Lucy's chapter if that was like a
Cheers.
shampoo or whiskey or something, and apparently it must be whiskey, I'm guessing, because it's sitting right there.
And another sip.
You got it. Just make them go away at this point. I don't know if I can antagonize them or not. I'm not going to press it.
Now, Dwayne, will you fucking tell me who you are?
Well. There we go. Okay, that's going to earn us a trophy called the Mirror Mask. And it says find one piece of the Mirror Mask, and that is 1 out of 7. And the bed's back. Okay, let's go to the progress room. So they're insinuating that he's an alcoholic and a drug addict, which if you take a little look around the house, just, a quick look, you'll see, we know there's more than a insinuation. So here we go. Some pieces are displayed. It looks incomplete. So we always kind of press the idea, I think most of us that play this, as to who the guy with the doctor's mask is. Or the masked man, I think it called him. And of course, the mask looks like an old doctor's mask, and so, or sometimes you might hear it referred to as a plague mask, or plague doctor's mask. And, at the time, and I don't even know if it was really that abundant during the plague. I think that's kind of a twisted version of history, if I'm not mistaken. But it was thought that the mask was used by the physicians at the time to protect themselves from those that had the plague. And usually the kind of beak portion was supposed to have some kind of scented material in it to block out the smell of death. And so I think he's just there to symbolize, like he said, one, that we're kind of dealing with reality for a change, that we're not just drinking and drugging at this point. And he's somewhat, to me, a symbolization of death and disease, the way those masks were. Okay, so that was our first mirror mask piece. So we're just going to kind of keep going down that list here. Okay, and other way. So Greed, afternoon at home with Claire and John. So John's pretty young here. So we have a ventilation shaft. One of the wretched souls. More wretched souls. And again, hypothetically, the wretched souls... Oh, a bird. Wretched souls could hypothetically reference both sides of the spectrum here. People that have done bad things or people that have had bad things done to them, I think. So... yeah. So it's pointing us to the ventilation shaft in the water heater room in the basement. And so I'm going to let it play through the second time. Like I said, sometimes I've usually had the triggers in the house happen pretty quickly. But if they don't trigger for some reason, just make sure to watch the video a couple times full through. Like I said, it should trigger after the first watch, and if you're doing it for the first time, like, these tapes can be pretty hard to decipher the first time. Some of them are pretty tricky, especially the last one we're going to do in this episode. So that should have cycled a few times. So to the water heater. So here's the water heater, and the vent is up here. going to... Come on. Come on. Down. Come on. Come on. Are you seriously not gonna... Come on. Fine. Fine. Make me do this in the dark. Okay. So the stool is broken. If you recall, there's a second stool that, if it didn't glitch out on you, would be sitting over here in this corner. And, hey look, a floaty lighter. Floaty lighter! So if you picked up the stool or it glitched out the way it did in my game, go to the storage room. And it should be right here. The hammer's been in the storage room since chapter... Never mind. It's fine. Everything is fine. Don't get mad at the game. Alright. So climb up and into the vent. And that's the bird. So, looks like it's a little too small for a raven. I want to say a leucistic crow. Special contract. Recipient Dwayne Anderson. Contract terms. Strong words. Signed contract. Sure. This makes me wonder if at some point Claire served him papers, but I don't know. Or this is something else, possibly. This one's been kind of hard to piece together mentally. I don't think she served him papers. I know a little too much about her. Maybe it's him making a deal with making the deal with an organization, signing an NDA. I mean, say what you want. They're in pretty good shape. Can I fit through that? It's looking a bit tight. Oh well. Now we have a dead bird. Type of dove maybe, or a pigeon. This room should look familiar. Okay, let's head to the progress room. Actually, let's go this way because we can get there from the garage. So yeah, I don't think those were like divorce papers. I don't think the relationship quite went that way. Up to the murder suicide. I think that was possibly more of a business deal. There we go. 2 pieces. So back to the TV room. Yeah, it would be called greed because he's making a deal that's working to his benefit, not to the people it's affecting. Okay, negligence. Oh, sorry, I didn't look at that. That was, it says July 76 family party. And that's your hint. That's the playroom in the basement that we were just at. This is a pretty straightforward one, but it's also very telling of what his family life was like. And that is a grocery store. You know, I'd kind of like to know the real backstory behind these videos and photos. I don't know if it's in the credits or not. I've never looked that close. Okay, I think that's our restart. So let's let it roll through one more time. So again, that's our basement playroom. It looks like the wall is broken. And it should show the grocery store twice. I tell you, the dance moves. Okay, we should be close to a restart. I'm not sure why the sound cut out in the second play. Okay, there we go. Back at the beginning. So, to the basement. Again. Alright, so there's our item. Vinyl. That is so cool.
Good day, everyone. Today there's no special. Sorry. Today there's only one thing with a discount.
Let me guess.
Beers. Yeah, beers are the only things with a special price today. Not the cheese, not the soups, not the tomatoes. Nothing. Nothing but beer. It's a beautiful evening. The grocery store is the place to be right now. We've got all your needs for food, especially drinks covered. It's hot outside. A beer would be nice, wouldn't it? It would fill that void in your soul, wouldn't it? Yes. Buy some beers. Yeah, that's a good idea. Get some beers. It's cheap today, so there's no reason not to. Get a 6-pack. Maybe 2. One for the evening, one for later tonight. Maybe more since there's a special price. Maybe get 1 or 2 beers from morning to 3 packs, right? 4. You know you need more beers, Dwayne.
TV room looks a little different.
All right, Sarah, it's time for bed now.
Daddy? I want a story.
I think it would be great if you told her a bedtime story, Dwayne. It's been a while.
Daddy?
Are you just going to ignore her? Always ignoring us, glued to your fucking beers. You don't talk, you don't sleep in the bedroom, you don't get out at all, you just don't care, do you? Why don't you just leave? Why aren't you like that, Tom? Talk to me. You used to be so good to us.
So you can see why the tape was called Negligence. And there we go. A third piece. All right. So one more. Indifference. This one is really tricky. So I might actually play this a few times. So it's a day at the beach, summer 73. And the hint is a little tricky to follow. So I'm going to let it play twice at least to let it play through. So we need to collect those objects. They're called strange frames. They're found throughout the house. I've already run into one of them. And that's the tricky part, is finding them. And there's a hint in here. I'll wait for it to play. Right here. Okay, so it's going to flash a series of rooms in the house. And each image is specifically focusing on one of the frames. They're really tricky to see. And it's even harder to figure out which rooms they're in. Personally, if you ask me. So I'm going to let it play through to where it flashes those rooms, and I'll read off the names as it flashes through them. So like I said, this one's kind of doing the reverse of what the other ones did. It's showing the location first and then the hint. So starting off with that Silent Hill door. Very heavy Silent Hill 4 themes. Okay, and then that's where we want to put them, I believe. Once we have them. So, here we go. After the lighthouse, I think that is. Electrical room. Freezer room. Master bedroom. Progress room. Storage room. Kitchen hallway. So those are the locations we need to go to. Okay, so the first one we'll do is master bedroom. That's the closest one. I do believe it's in here. So right there. I'm going to go to the kitchen. We're not going in the kitchen, we're going down the hallway. This one really threw me off. The angle is taken from over here, and it's literally on the wall here. So I had to figure out which room that was across the hallway at first. Okay, progress room. And this is the one I actually noticed had already spawned. So at some point in the game, they must just automatically spawn. Maybe after you finish a certain chapter. I don't remember if this one's chapter tied. It's right here. Okay, storage room. So we'll go through the garage. I'm not really even using these, so come on. Oh, wrong hand. Okay, and it's right here in the back. So this is our storage room. And what was the last one? Freezer and electrical, which are right here. The freezer room is obvious, but the location, you have to pay attention to the angle, is up here. So that's the freezer. And storage, where is it in this room? I think it's over. Let me see. What was the angle on it? Hey. Okay. I'm trying to remember exactly where it is in here. This is one I cannot remember offhand. Shout if you see it. Where are you? Where are you? I might have to look at the angle in the image again. Is it right here? Okay. So it's right where my cursor is. Okay. Okay. Oh, I tripped the breaker, didn't I? The light went out and I tripped the breaker. I was like, why are all the lights off? They're off because I accidentally turned them off. Don't hit the breaker, all right? Okay. Let's see. So electrical room we just did. And the last thing we need to do is go to the basement stairway right here. You can see a faint impression of the paintings. And oh, my lighter's out. It's like a door. We're literally walking on beer cans. Okay, got our Silent Hill 4 door and a series of pills here. Why, oh, why didn't I pick the blue pill? Now we know Dwayne's been self-medicating with chlorpromazine. And I think there's a deeper reason for that. But I kind of wonder if he was trying other things at the same time. And that's what this is implying. I don't think chlorpromazine is addictive as far as I know. Come on, where are you? There you are. Okay. Pills. Red and white pills. I wonder if that's significant. Jammed. Huh. That is really important, actually. Anybody know what that is? That's a glass of water. If you look off to the right, you'll see a giant apple, and off to the left, we have a lighthouse. So the first one I think is supposed to symbolize the alcoholism and the negligence. Oh look, the apple's rotting. Strong symbolism there. This one I think is just supposed to depict us taking our own life. Of course, the rotting apple is, general symbolism is thought to be like a bad individual among a group or a bad individual to a greater whole. As far as what it could symbolize. But, especially in the case of there's being one individual, like the state, I think, how's the proverb go? One bad apple can spoil the bunch, or a rotten apple spoils the barrel. So it could represent that he was a dishonest person and cause a lot of problems. But I've also heard an alternative that I thought was really interesting. Darkness brought up the idea that apples could serve as a delivery system for treatments. And I was like, that could be a very apt way of doing things. A common theme in this story has been, medical treatment. And who knows, maybe it actually is meant to mean both. Keep getting caught on the stairs here. Ways back there, we did see a bunch of people walking into a giant mouth. So, could be some strong symbolism.
Oh, Dwayne! Welcome to your domain! I was waiting for you impatiently. What? You tell me this isn't your domain? Nonsense! It's the fruit of your hard labor. Can't you see how everyone enjoys their time here? It's all thanks to you they have this newfound home. How fulfilled they all seem. Some of them might look a little lost, I concur, but what of it? They have a place to be for all of eternity. How delightful for them, courtesy of Dwayne Anderson. The dead will whisper tales of your achievements, and you will be remembered forever. Now, up you go, chap. Go have a look at your masterpiece.
So is the implication here that we are the cause of the wretched souls? We are the bad apple. Looks like a photo of Claire and Dwayne. I just saw something there. The doctor's name. I recognized it.
Explain this to me. Please talk to me. I love you, Dwayne. I want to help you. First the alcohol and now this? Who prescribed you this and why? I want to know so I can help you through it. Are you slowly going insane, Dwayne? Should we be worried? Because we are. Recently, you've been scaring everyone with your cold indifference. Are you thinking of leaving us? What do you want to run from so bad that you drug yourself every day? Do you want to die, Dwayne?
I could help you with that, you know. I'm only with you because you have money. It's probably blood money, but I don't care. I don't care about you. If you want to die, I'll happily oblige. I could help you with that, you know. I'm only with you because you have money. It's probably blood money, but I don't care. I don't care about you. If you want to die, I'll happily oblige. I could help you with that, you know. I'm only with you because you have money. It's probably blood money, but I don't care. I don't care about you. If you want to die, I'll happily oblige. I could help you with that, you know. I'm only with you because you have money. It's probably blood money, but I don't care. I don't care about you.
There's a bit of a glitch there, but you could see the captions of what they were actually saying. That dialogue wasn't supposed to repeat itself. Okay, so I don't know how much of that should be taken as at face value, but the implication is that he at least thinks that his wife married him for his money. We still don't know what he did for a living, so you know, to be figured out. And assuming that's not just Dwayne reflecting on himself, made it sound like the kids agreed. And granted, how old are the kids, but... So let's take a quick trip to the progress room again. Also, all of them were wearing doctor's masks, if you didn't notice. And so if you kind of go on the idea that the masks could represent death and disease, because traditionally that's what they're thought to represent. Maybe Dwayne is the disease to them. Claire surely saw that. You know, I believe that part. But, I kind of wonder how much the kids knew and picked up on. So yeah, we have 4 pieces of the mask. And once you complete the mask, you'll get the Mirror Mask Master trophy. We're still missing 3 pieces, though. So let's get back to the TV room. And so kind of depending on, whether we take that at face value, that's actually how Claire felt. And whether we take it at face value that's how the kids may have felt. That could kind of slightly change the story. All right, we haven't finished the VHS tapes yet, but we have learned some about Dwayne's home and personal life. Dwayne had a wife named Claire and 2 children, You could learn a bit about this just by looking at the photographs in the TV room, but the tapes have kind of built on that a little bit. There was an older boy named John Michael and a younger daughter named Sarah. For unknown reasons, Dwayne became an alcoholic that drank large amounts of beer, and possibly whiskey was implied. Definitely a lot more beer around the house, though. And he was addicted to, well, I wouldn't say addicted to, but he was taking prescribed chlorpromazine, suggesting that he may have been suffering from mental illness, because that is used to treat things like schizophrenia and something else I'm not thinking of right now. It's an antipsychotic, though. And so we talked about this way early in the game, like on the first episode, I think. So, it's possible that he's been suffering from mental illness, but his wife didn't seem to know anything about it. And that kind of makes some similarity, or adds some similarity to the past residents, the ones that we know about, at least at this point. So, Lucy, Dolores, Rakin, there's a continuity in the mental illness side of things. How much of that is true, stands to be learned, I guess, in some ways, or thought. So, Dwayne could have been addicted to other medications. There was some implication that he may have been taking other things. I don't know how much I would rely on that, though, because what you see around the house is mostly chlorpromazine bottles, lots of them. And I have ideas on what that is that I don't want to talk about quite yet, so we'll talk about that in possibly the next part, I think. There are some painkiller packages around the house, so, if he's drinking that much, it's probably just for headaches. But over time, because of this, and possibly other factors, Dwayne's greed for his vices kind of drove him to indifference and neglect in caring for his family, essentially, for his children, and to Claire's dismay, so to speak. So it was strongly suggested that Claire either may have married Dwayne for his money, or at least Dwayne thinks that that's why she married him, and that she didn't actually want him around, that she didn't care about him. And again, whether that's a reflection of him or not, it sounded like she wanted him to die as a consequence of his addictions so that she could inherit his money and move on, essentially. There are still things that we do not know about Dwayne at this time, such as what his career was, because clearly he had money, or why he murdered his family and himself. Some of that could have simply stemmed from what we just learned, but let's assume there's a bigger picture. An interesting comparison is how Dwayne's situation, and I may have brought this up previously, but how his situation seems to mirror that of Lucy and Dolores, and even Rakin to a certain extent. Every one of them seemed to have lived in the house at different times. We'll get into that more later. And they showed signs of what seemed to present as mental illness. And I say seemed because I don't think some of them were mentally ill. I think there's other things going on here. There's a common factor that the house seems to, it comes back to the idea that there's something environmental going on. That something might be underlying all of this, rather than mental illness. Not saying that that's not a factor, because that could also be a factor. We don't quite know yet. Mental illness could be the reason, but there could be other things in play, or combination of the two. The other point that I was never able to ignore was Rakin's aggression towards Dwayne in the hospital, or Dolores saying our name. Rakin's always been a bit volatile from our perspective, but considering that Dwayne did what he did to his family, and they're driving at this idea that he didn't care, and I don't think that's the entire picture. I didn't want to ignore the idea that he could be responsible for all this death somehow, because it was really heavily implied in that last tape that Dwayne is responsible for a whole lot of what's going on. Anyway, if you are following along for the trophy walkthrough, then you should have 4 of 7 pieces of the Mirror Mask towards the Mirror Mask Master Trophy, and you would have earned the Mirror Mask Trophy just for getting the first one. And that is a good place to end this episode. To recap, we started working through the VHS tapes and finished 4 of the 7, where we learned more about Dwayne's home and personal life, as alcoholism and potential addiction led him to murdering his family and committing suicide. We'll see if we can learn more about that. Next time we are going to finish the VHS tapes and see if we can learn more about, hopefully more about Dwayne's career, because it sounds like that could be an underlying feature, and figure out what exactly happened. So with that being said, let us close things out for this one. I'll be continuing tonight, so if you are here live, stick around. Otherwise, thank you all for joining, and I will see you all later.